been 10 years since a new Star Wars movie has been released in theaters, and for die-hard fans, it's been over 30. And with the release now come and gone, some seem to have enjoyed the film, while others seem to have dismissed it as just fan service or unoriginal. I myself am someone who grew up watching Star Wars and helped spark my imagination. It seemed as though nothing could make me think that this movie could possibly be bad. All of the evidence showed that it was going to be an entertaining, fun movie. In all fairness, it was, and I really enjoyed it. But that doesn't make it a perfect movie. To get one thing clear, Star Wars is marketed towards kids. It's marketed towards kids so they can make more money merchandising off of toys, clothes, and things like that.
Merchandising!
And to this point, they've done a wonderful job. For example, George Lucas sold the rights for Star Wars to Disney for $4 billion. Disney made that money back in merchandise and toys weeks before the movie was even released.
Merchandising!
For a movie marketed towards kids, it really tugs the heartstrings of both grown men and women everywhere. People all over the world of every age group and ethnicity love this franchise because of the characters and story portrayed in the saga. Star Wars The Force Awakens is a fun, entertaining movie that loves to give us a heavy dose of nostalgia and memories. The new characters are a welcome addition to the franchise. You have Rey, you have Finn, you have Poe. All seem to have their own different roles in the movie. The new villain Kylo Ren is also a welcome addition, putting a different spin on what we normally see in villains in the Star Wars saga. The new villain Kylo Ren is a different twist than what the villains have been in the Star Wars saga. Kylo is shown being tempted by the light side, an interesting dynamic to show in an evil character, due to the ongoing message that it's the dark side that tempts us in life. He is a Padawan-type character to the mysterious Supreme Leader Snoke, who we don't fully understand. Han Solo is featured prominently in the film as the type of mentor to characters like Finn and Rey. It's great to see him on screen, especially since he does such a good job of just being Han Solo. Harrison Ford plays a more seasoned, wise version of his character, showing us just how far he has come since Return of the Jedi. What the movie did a good job with was setting up a bunch of new characters that we can all get attached to. Rey is a strong female lead who we all grow to love towards the end of the movie, and she's teased throughout the film to be Force-sensitive or to possibly be related to someone in prior films. Finn is a funny, charismatic character who departs from the First Order and joins up with the rebels and help fight for a cause that he can believe in. Poe is a likable rebel pilot who seems to live up to the name of best pilot in the galaxy in his attack against the First Order. All these characters seem to have a different angle going for them in future movies. For example, Rey at the end of the film seems to be setting up a new relationship with a new character and seems to be going into a certain Jedi training with someone. Finn has now joined a new cause that he can get behind, and Poe is going to be leading the rebellion against this new threat. Not to mention Kylo Ren's revealed family lineage and his killing of his own father, Han Solo. Unfortunately, yes, that was a spoiler, by the way. What seems to be a little bit strange, however, is that this movie wants to make up for things that they kind of made missteps in the past. Rey is a strong female lead character in a saga that kind of doesn't have that many female characters aside from Leia and Padme, and I can't think of a third character. Finn seems to be a main African-American character, and he seems to be a stormtrooper that just departs from being a stormtrooper, which kind of shows that you can be kind of sympathetic towards these troops, an army that isn't necessarily all bad. Poe finally seems to be recognized as the best pilot in the galaxy, whereas we saw that with kind of Han Solo navigating his way through an asteroid field, which the odds were not in his favor, obviously. And then we also see it with Anakin in the prequel trilogy, where everyone always talks about how great of a pilot he was, or how skilled he was in a pod race.
Now this is pod racing.
But my favorite example of this kind of comes from Kylo Ren, who, in my opinion, is what Anakin Skywalker should have been, and it feels like that they kind of tried to make amends for that. Because Anakin Skywalker, in the prequel trilogy, was kind of displayed as a bratty kid who wanted power and couldn't get that power. Kylo Ren wants power, and he can't get that power, and he's kind of a basket case. He's a little bit crazy, but he wants to get there no matter what. Regardless of being tempted by the light side, he wants to get there.
I hate them!
To some, this seems to be a bit of a problem, but to me, it's something that I can overlook. Because when it comes to familiarity with films like these with Star Wars, I want these Star Wars films to feel like Star Wars. So that familiar feeling, the use of these plot devices, and the way that these characters seem to be mirroring each other is kind of a good thing in my opinion. George Lucas himself has even said that in the Star Wars lore, events and stories tend to rhyme with each other. They may seem the same, but they might mean a little bit different. For example, a lost soul on a desert planet longs for something more. A father figure or mentor is killed at the end of the first film in a trilogy, and the story ends happily as though our heroes have won the day. What made the prequels so hated was the thought that these movies didn't feel like Star Wars. They had the same themes and the same running plot, but the characters, sets, and mood to the films were completely off. Besides the rhyming themes, the only things the original trilogy, prequel trilogy, and Force Awakens all have in common is the brilliant use of special effects. When I went to go see The Force Awakens in the theater, I went with a pretty big friend group. All of us happened to be pretty big Star Wars fans for the entirety of our lives. And all of us, save for one person, really enjoyed the film, and that person's name is John. My friend John thought that all the characters were paper thin. The film was rather one note. He didn't like that the use of the Force was just kind of loosey-goosey, that Rey was able to manipulate things in a way that no one else really could without the proper training. I explained to him how I felt about the movie, and in some aspects he did change his mind for some elements, but for the most part he had a pretty negative response, and I was kind of surprised. So I thought to myself, was I missing something? Did I neglect to see some of the flaws in the film the first time I saw it because I was such a fanboy? So I went and I saw the movie again, and I had just as entertaining of a time as I did the first time. I didn't get it. So when I went online to go look at the reviews for this film, some of the gripes that they had were the same as my friend. Some of the coincidences, some of the characters, and the writing of the story. But that's what's different about this, is it's kind of the same, and that's what their problem is the familiarity. And I don't think we should look down or frown upon familiarity. It's what makes these franchises great. It's what makes these movies amazing, in my opinion. It's what changed the game in the first place. It's been 3 or 4 months since The Force Awakens has come out, and I eagerly await for the Blu-ray to come out. Like, I can't wait. And it's not doing exactly what The Phantom Menace, say, did to fans back in the day. Fans were so excited for a new Star Wars movie, and it had been such a long time since they had gotten one. So, when this new movie came out, a bunch of people went in with all the hype, all the excitement, and they came out rather disappointed, or they came out thinking, that was the best movie ever. So, these people that kept thinking to themselves, this movie's amazing, and they saw it multiple times in theaters, it took them a while to realize maybe this movie isn't as good as it seems. It's a little bit off, it's a little bit weird. Wait, is this movie bad? Yes, it is. Wait, is it? I don't know. And you keep thinking about this, and it keeps phantom menacing in your head. For me, this just goes to show that Star Wars fans are a little bit strange. Because back then, when the movie came out, The Phantom Menace that is, people didn't like it because it felt so different. They didn't like it because it felt so not like Star Wars. And now the main complaint that I'm hearing for The Force Awakens is that it feels too much like prior entries. It feels too much like Return of the Jedi or A New Hope. To which I say, that's kind of silly. You're kind of going back on your word. All these people that wanted George Lucas out of the franchise are now clamoring to get him back in because they think that J.J. Abrams didn't do a good job, or they paid too much homage to it, and that George Lucas would bring something new back to the franchise. He tried that, and it failed with fans. It failed with critics. It did not work. What this movie really needed to do was introduce Star Wars to a new generation, and I feel that it succeeded. Star Wars The Force Awakens is a success. Box office, obviously. But with me, it's also a success critically. Personally, I enjoyed the film, while also recognizing its flaws. And it also brought back a lot of memories for my parents and my parents' parents, who I also saw the movie with. I saw it with my grandmother, and she loved it. In my opinion, I can't wait for the next film to come out. A lot of anticipation, a lot of hype, and to be honest, I think it's going to be better than the last. At least I hope so.
Merchandising.